Happy New Year, one and all. I hope you all had a happy new year, and I hope 2021 is a better year for you all. So Quentin Tarantino is arguably one of the best directors that's ever been. And I will argue that to my last breath. I swear to God, Quentin Tarantino is probably my favorite director that's ever directed. So in light of that, I figured I'm not only going to review one of my favorite movies by Quentin Tarantino, I'm going to review two of them. And that is Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2. So strap in. This video is also going to contain spoilers for Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2, so if you haven't seen Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2, what are you doing? Go and watch Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2, they are great films, and you will love them. So Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2 follows the adventures of Uma Thurman's character. Her name is kind of a mystery, even though it's not the greatest name that's ever been. In the first movie, you never get to know her name. Her name is a complete mystery to everybody. It doesn't really matter too much, but her name is irrelevant. In this movie, Uma Thurman's character wants to kill Bill. Bill being somebody who literally massacred her and her entire family inside of a church just before her wedding. She kind of didn't like that, so now she's going to kill the bitch. The best thing about these movies is the slow unravel of these characters. In the opening of the second one, I'm getting ahead of myself. I will rewind. Back to the first movie. So in the first movie, it literally opens up with one of the funniest intros to a movie I think I've ever seen. Uma Thurman's character literally knocks on the door and just stares point blank into this girl's face, and the way that the camera pans up to her eyes, the music cue, and then it goes all red is. It's probably the funniest intros that I think I've ever seen to a character. It's just, I'm gonna kill you. Literally, no words spoken. They fight. They brawl in the middle of a house. They smash, cut, bleed. They do everything. They break everything. And then the little girl comes home on the school bus, and Uma Thurman's character just hides a knife behind her back, and then the mother hides a knife behind her back, and then they just sort of talk, and it's like, yeah, it's all good. This is just friend from out of town. Friend. From out of town. Probably my favorite type of dialogue when it comes to a movie is when characters just talk as if they know each other. They give us the information about how they know each other without feeling the need to turn around and make us look like idiots when they give us the information. Like, yes, I knew you back when this happened because of this and this and this and this. And it's just a much more natural way of giving us the information rather than just being completely out of the blue, out of the moment, and just being like, I knew you because of this, instead of just being like, yes, I know you. And they tell us how they know each other without telling us they know each other, if you know what I mean. Quentin Tarantino is my favorite type of director when it comes to the dialogue. The dialogue is absolutely his shining example in any movie that he does. Hateful Eight is a great example of that. Pulp Fiction is an even better example of that. And I cannot praise Quentin Tarantino any more than for his dialogue. His dialogue is brilliant. He's a very funny director. He's also a very stylistic director. Most of his style is extremely interesting to watch. I love watching all of his films. I haven't seen all of his films, but I've seen a lot of his films. They're great to watch. So the basic premise of these movies is that Uma Thurman's character has a kill list. She's going to kill a bunch of people. Who killed her family and literally her. And the first kill that we see is probably the funniest kill in the movie. I literally burst out laughing when I saw this kill. It's like they're all like, let's meet in a park, let's wear all black, and let's kill each other in the middle of the park, wear katanas and all that shit. See you at sundown. And then the chick tries to blow her away, and then misses, and then Uma Thurman's character literally just pulls out a knife and then stabs her in the fucking in the chest. It was the funniest kill in the movie, I swear. The second funniest kill is later on in the movie with Oren Ishii. That's apparently her name. I'm sure she had a code name, but I can't remember the code name. The dude sitting over there is basically calling her a non-Asian, and then she literally gets up onto the table, scurries over like a rat with his katana, and then cuts his. It has to be the funniest looking kill, the funniest setup to a kill, especially when the head's been cut off and then the neck just bursts out in blood. Probably the only thing that annoys me in this movie is the overuse of the blood. Lots of times in this movie, when people get cut or people get killed, it looks like they've hit like 5 arteries in a row, and the amount of blood that pisses out of there is just absolutely insane. But the biggest praise that I can give these movies is hands down the action. I swear the choreography in these scenes are some of the best fight scenes that I have seen since that one scene in Batman vs Superman. I honestly was thrown away by a lot of this choreography. It was so well done, and it was brilliant. The first movie absolutely focuses a lot more on the action. The second movie absolutely is hands down the most dialogue based of the two. Most of the information that we get based on these two characters, on Uma Thurman's character and Bill, is in the second movie. We really don't get much of a character for Uma Thurman's character in the first one. All we know is that she's on a kill quest and that her entire life was literally just blown away in a second. Throughout these movies, I swear the acting is some of the best acting that I think I've seen in a movie in a while. And that's really good, especially coming from Uma Thurman. Uma Thurman, at this point in her career, was, let's just say, under a lot of shit for Batman and Robin. As far as everyone was aware at that point, she was Poison Ivy in Batman and Robin. She was unable to act. She was nominated for a Razzie in that movie, and it was just appalling to watch her act in that movie. But then you jump over to Kill Bill, and she absolutely brings herself out of the ashes for those movies and is like, fuck no, I can act and I'm gonna prove that shit. And I love that. I really do love that. That was it is amazing to watch her act in these movies. She goes from really headstrong to heartbroken to an emotional wreck. She is all over the place in this movie, and it is brilliant to watch. Now, like I said before, the second movie is more based on the story than it is based on the action. The story in this movie is probably Kill Bill Volume 2 is probably my favorite Quentin Tarantino movie. Actually, I'll say second favorite. Second favorite Quentin Tarantino movie based on the dialogue and the intrigue, and that is hands down, and that has to do with Bill as a character. Bill in this movie is one of the most intriguing, beautifully written characters that I have watched in a long time. Every time he is on screen, you are drawn into the movie, you are latched onto the screen, and you love watching this guy, or you just listen to him talk. Everything that he says is brilliant. In a lot of ways, he reminds me of Lex Luthor from Smallville. Basically, every time that he says something is a very great comparison to something that he has seen. Like Lex Luthor in Smallville would come into a scene and be like, Julius Caesar once said blah 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 blah, and then he would make a point about it in the current circumstance, and it was like, and it's always like, whoa. like that is surprisingly a really good comparison to what you just said. Interesting. And Bill in this movie is brilliant when it comes to that. He would turn around and say something like this, and that also means this. Superman sees the world one way, and this is how you see the world. It's similar to that. And apart from my annoyance of that scene where he says that Clark Kent is Superman's critique on the world, which pisses me off when he says that. Every time I watch that, it is like, oh. Bill, you say that you're a Superman fan, but I do not believe for a second that you are actually a Superman fan. Fuck you. Apologies, just had to remove an entire section of dialogue because I was complaining about him criticizing Superman. Apologies, back to the show. And that's not to say that there's not any action. The action in this movie is probably some of the not weakest action that I've seen Quentin Tarantino, but less bloody than I've seen Quentin Tarantino do. I can actually, now that I think about it, I can only really think of one fight scene in the movie. And when a movie like this, it can rely on the story and the dialogue to drive the movie forward and have you intrigued the entire time, that is hands down the best kind of movie that I like to watch. I mean, I love to watch a dumb action movie from time to time. Of course, I love the Fast and Furious series. They're dumb as shit, but I enjoy watching them because they're dumb as shit, and they're dumb action movies. However, every so often, I would love to see a nice character-driven, dialogue-based movie, and Kill Bill Volume 2 is definitely my favorite when it comes to that. It doesn't rely on the action to drive the movie forward. It relies on the characters and the dialogue. And this movie is probably the funniest and the most intriguing when it comes to Quentin Tarantino movies. And that all comes down to the end of this movie. And the end of this movie was just a plot twist that I was so involved in this movie. I was so into this movie. I loved it, and I genuinely did not see this twist coming. When Uma Thurman turns around that corner and sees Bill standing next to the little girl, I dropped. I was like, holy shit. Oh, because these two movies have set up the relationship between Uma Thurman and this little girl. Her entire motivation has basically been around this child. She never got to have this child, so therefore she is out for blood. And now that she has this little girl, she now has something to live for. And it was so heartbreaking and so beautiful to watch. Another thing that this movie is good for is also the foreshadowing. There's one particular moment in the early part of the movie where Bill's character is like, "Oh, I was never taught the 5 pressure point blood burster or heart burster thing," and then later on, that's exactly how she kills Bill. So overall, these two movies are some of the best Quentin Tarantino movies that I have seen in a long time, and I love watching Quentin Tarantino movies. He is absolutely my favorite director outside of Christopher Nolan. So comment below, what are your favorite Quentin Tarantino movies in order of what you've seen? If you haven't seen them all, that's fine. If the movies that you have seen, what's your list? Top tier movie to weakest movie that he's ever made. Comment below, let me know, and if you like what you see here and you want to see more, then click the subscribe button, click the like button, and I'll see you next time.